Okay, it's Sunday night service, and oh my goodness, we have Vicki Warren literally back in the house again tonight. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I have 2 weeks in a row she has agreed to be here talking about the dangers of 5G and cell phones. And you know, we had part 1, which I don't even remember what that was about. Those 3 weeks ago. Oh, I gave all the statistics and all those things. And then part 2 last week, where you broke it down for us really well. You really did. You did a great job. And then tonight we're talking about 5G and cell phones, and we're talking about I'm going to ask, well, a little bit, maybe dirty electricity. I don't know. Or you explain it a little bit. But guys, as you get logged on, I want to know where you're watching from. Hit your heart buttons and your like buttons. Post your questions up here as well. And we will get to those. And we will get to last week's probably, maybe also at some point. But we have both been bombarded this week and have not gotten questions answered. But Vicki Warren, you know, electrical engineer, she travels the world as an electrical engineer, and you work on like high frequency things, don't you?
Yeah, high voltage stuff. Yeah,
high voltage things. But she used to be the executive director of bowel biology.
You got it.
And now she is the co-founder of Wings of Eagles Healthy Living.
And let me put in a plug for bowel biology. If you go to their website, the building biology website, it's actually got a different name now, but just Google building biology. There's a lot of good information on that website as well.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. And you pop right up on there too, by the way. Yeah. Yes, you do. So there's all kinds of things about making your home a safe haven and about having a clean, well, not a clean home, but, you know, a clean smog home.
A health supporting home as opposed to a health damaging home. That's our whole goal.
Exactly. And we are so going to talk about that tonight. And so we know that 5G is rolling out. We don't have a choice, right? It's coming out whether we like it or not. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so
you just jump right in it. Yeah, 2019.
Yeah, I said we're going to get right to business.
2019 is the year for 5G.
Oh my gosh! And guess what year this is? 2019. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's coming out. It's rolling out. And so this was interesting. I was reading this article today, and it was talking about. This was from the Jerusalem Hebrew University, but it says over 90% of microwave radiation is absorbed through the dermis and the epidermis layers. So the human skin basically acts like a sponge for microwave radiation. This is what they said. Is this true?
It's true, but it's a sponge, but it's also a filter.
Okay.
Okay. Because what they're really saying is 90% of it hits the dermis, the epidermis and the dermis, and doesn't go any deeper. When you get up into this frequency, now frequency I talked about last week, now we're talking about the stuff that vibrates really, really quickly, the high energy stuff. Now don't get scared because I use the word high energy. High energy just means it moves a lot.
Okay.
Okay. It doesn't mean it's necessarily more harmful. What we talked about last week.
That's like me. I move a lot. I'm not necessarily more harmful.
The hyper people. I mean, what we talked about last week was the slow moving stuff that comes out of the walls.
Okay.
You know, the what's that sort of thing. And we know that goes all the way through the body. So it's not absorbed by the epidermis and dermis. It just goes, the body doesn't care. It goes all the way through it. So that's why we see such an impact.
Okay.
And we've known about that, like I said, since about 20 years after electricity was invented back in the 1800s.
Oh my goodness.
But the high frequency, what they're saying here, the high energy stuff, is it goes into the epidermis and dermis, but not much further. It's absorbed at that level.
Okay.
Not that 90% of the energy goes into the body. It's that 90% of it stops there.
Okay.
Only 10% goes further.
Okay.
So that's what that statement actually means.
Okay.
So it serves as a sponge, but also a filter.
Okay. All right. So what are we going to do?
Well,
talk about it.
Let me talk about that because that makes it sound like, well, why are we worried if it's just the dermis and epidermis?
Right.
I'm only worried about what the FCC says, Federal Communications Commission, which says that if something doesn't cook your skin, it's safe. So if your skin doesn't overheat, which is called the specific absorption ratio or the SAR, then it's at safe levels.
Okay.
And that's what they're saying, and the whole issue about what gets absorbed. But here is the problem.
Okay.
Our bodies communicate by light.
By light. Okay.
And electromagnetic pulses.
Okay.
Everybody has seen EEGs. Everybody has seen EKGs.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
We all know and we've heard about, in fact, perhaps some of you actually do these studies and that of auras.
They're trying to get in, I guess. They got to get in.
And,
Hang on a second.
and that we do, so people have measured auras or taken pictures of auras, so we know that we all produce light. You can hold your hands up and the light that it comes out of it. Cells communicate back and forth by light. What we don't know at this high frequency is what is that impact to the body going to be. Those of you that work in essential oils or deal with essential oils or that deal with crystals or any of that realm, you know that something doesn't have to go into the body in order for the body to be impacted by it.
Right.
So
That's right.
So essential oils, is it really absorbed into the bloodstream or is it just the frequency?
Yeah, we had this conversation. This is cool.
Is it the people who work in energy medicine that will hold up manganese next to your hand and your body will crave manganese?
Right.
If it's either muscle testing or Rife machines or anything that's measuring the frequency of the body doesn't necessarily have to take it on chemically in order for the body to respond to it.
Right.
So the problem is, yes, only 90% of it will go in because the epidermis and the dermis, but just the flat exposure to that, what's that going to do to us at the cellular level?
Right.
And that's where those that are in the FCC and those that make these products will tell you, oh, there's no damage, your skin's not burning. We don't know.
Right.
And there are tons and tons of research that says our bodies and these channels that communicate at the cellular level and the light that we produce and all of that is impacted by this high energy vibrational stuff. And that's the issue.
Okay.
Now, do you want me to keep going on 5G?
Yeah, I want to talk about 5G. So 5G is fascinating to me, and I didn't understand anything about it, and I was asking a little bit. So yeah, let's talk. I'm going to let her talk tonight. Anybody who has questions, put them on your phone, get them on your cellular device that we're talking about tonight, and I will read them. Okay. So, I need to unplug this booger. So, there we go. Oh, shoot.
I feel so much better.
Yeah. All right. Not so much electricity. Okay.
So 5G, which is fifth generation.
Fifth generation. That's what it stands for.
You know, 3G was third generation, 4G is fourth generation, and 5G is fifth generation.
Okay.
Think now in terms of 4G, which is what most of us have.
Right.
Now, some of you may be as old as I am, and you remember when we went from 3G to 4G. And the impact of going from 3G to 4G went to a higher frequency signal. So it's something that vibrates more. If it vibrates more, it doesn't travel as far. So, you know, those of you that live in the Franklin area and even other areas, you know, you have seen these huge radio towers.
Yes.
That used to work in something that was called AM.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
AM.
AM.
Yes.
And those radio towers, AM signals are so slow that they would put out significant energy, but they would travel for hundreds of miles, which is why people could use an AM radio a long ways away.
Okay.
But you didn't see those AM radios every 100 miles because they just put out a lot of energy.
Okay.
Then we went to FM.
Okay.
And FM is frequency modulation. It's at a higher frequency, so it doesn't travel as far. So those towers had to be more, you'd see them more often.
Oh, okay.
Then we went to 3G.
Okay.
And we had cell towers that went up, but they were still 10 miles apart.
So there was no 2G.
No, we kind of just skipped all that.
Okay.
There was a 2G, but it never became commercial.
Oh, okay. All right.
So then we went to 4G. And
Okay.
4G was when we started seeing cell towers popping up all the place.
Okay. Yep.
And then everybody started panicking and people were leasing their land to put a tower and all the neighborhood would go, no, don't do that. You're putting a tower up. And you know, all of that happened with 4G. Okay. But 4G signals basically operate in still the low gigahertz range. Now, giga is just a term, 10 to the 9th. It means it's going really, really, really fast.
Okay.
So a lot of energy, but it doesn't travel very far.
Okay.
So these towers had to go up about every mile or so, and they would form a cell. Think of around every tower, you would have like a cone or a circle.
Yep.
And that's how far that tower would, you know, send out the signal.
Okay.
And then the next tower had to be placed so that the two circles would overlap a bit.
Okay. So there was no gap of service, no lapse.
So that us consumers who demand 24/7 coverage every foot of land we walk on, would always have a signal. All right.
Okay.
So
that's 4G.
That's
4G.
And those would go up, a mile apart basically, and you would see those.
Man.
Now, 5G.
Okay.
5G, we want all this stuff. Okay.
Yes.
We
want to watch our Sunday night service while we're driving down the road.
We want to stream virtual reality. We want to have every vehicle that is, can talk via GPS. Well, that's satellite, and that's a whole different story. But every vehicle can communicate, and it'll tell you when it's, tell somebody when it's about to run out of gas, and they'll tell, all that. We're going to have electric vehicles, so we can't run into one another. So my vehicle has to talk to your vehicle, and everybody in my car has to have a cell phone that's talking to everybody in your car. And we want all of this self-driving cars. We want our security systems so that, nobody can break into my house. And we want all to be able to put all this data on this thing.
Okay.
Well, to do that, it's a ton of data.
Oh, yeah.
So they have to go to a different bandwidth.
Right.
Meaning a different frequency. That's what bandwidth means.
Okay.
So now they're stepping up into a higher, the gigahertz range, the 28 gigahertz range, the 32 gigahertz. Now, existing cell phones today, basically are down in the 1.8 gigahertz range. So they're going to step up because, if you got a whole lot of data, you need a whole big freeway to drive it down.
Yes.
All right. So they say they have a whole big bandwidth. Well, that higher frequency stuff doesn't travel very far at all.
Okay.
So in order for us to have this coverage every foot 24/7, they have to have a cell tower here and a cell tower here and a cell tower here. So every 100 feet or so.
Well, that's what when I asked you, I said I read 5G or uses small cells. That's what we're talking about. They got to be placed every, what'd you say, 100 feet?
Every 100 feet or so.
So like everybody's house.
You got it.
Okay. Okay.
So every house now is going to have this cell phone. This antenna, not a cell phone, but the antenna.
So that's the plan.
Yeah.
On the houses
now
is the way you would get them every 100 feet.
Now those antennas have to boom down in or produce the energy constantly to communicate with every little device that's around your house that needs to talk to it. And every car that drives by down your street and all of this stuff that they can communicate with it. So these things are coming. Now, from a FCC point of view, it's all absorbed by the skin, and as long as your skin's not burning, I don't care. Right?
Yeah.
Right? But those of us that know where our bodies are really more energy than they are chemical.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Then we recognize that we don't really know what's going to be the impact. The people that deal, like I said, they deal with crystals or that they deal with essential oils, they know the importance of energy. And anybody, Reiki, Shiatsu, any of the energy people know this. The doctors that are medical doctors,
right,
work in
right.
energy, we all get this. And this is going to be a constant bombardment sort of thing.
Okay.
So what do we do?
Yeah. What are we going to do?
And there are lots of avenues and things. The smart meter, by the way, that are on houses was one of the initial things. It's running at 4G, but they're upping that to 5G.
Oh, they are?
2019.
Really?
Yeah. And so what kind of choices do we have? The good news.
Hit your heart buttons or your thumb down buttons if you guys have a smart meter on your house. Anybody who knows that they have a smart meter already on their house, hit your thumbs down button. I refused it, and called them, but I suspect that doesn't do much. Now, I don't have it because they put them in our neighborhood, but I would think that
you don't have them yet.
I don't have it yet.
Yeah.
They honored the fact that I refused to get the smart meter.
Yeah.
But I am thinking that they will put it on no matter what eventually.
They will.
Okay.
But the good news about that is at this high signal, this high energy signal of 5G, remember, it won't penetrate much.
Right. Right.
So if it's outside your house, it won't come into your house.
Right. Okay. So the 5G won't come in. So then where's the dangers in 5G?
It comes through the glass. So your windows.
Oh.
It'll come through windows. And in some situations, people will put them inside their homes or inside their buildings. If you live in a multifamily dwelling.
Right. Right.
Or bring them inside the building because it doesn't travel very far. So if I want the security alarm on my bedroom window to work with my 5G network,
right.
all right, I've got to have it located so that it travels through the wall into my bedroom.
Okay.
So that's the problem. And honestly, we just don't know. We know that people were impacted by cordless telephones, and we know people were impacted by 3G and 4G. If you were unlucky enough to live in an area where there was a 4G antenna that bombarded your bedroom, we know that impacts people.
Yes.
We especially see the impact on children who are autistic, or even adults, but anybody autistic, we see that quite often, that they're highly impacted by that.
Yes, my friend Marnie Reeser, who's and she may be watching tonight. Marnie, if you're watching, she's a classically trained homeopath. She lived in New York City, and they put a cell tower on top of her building, in New York City, and it absolutely, she had to leave the building. She had to move out of her apartment. It disrupted her sleep. It disrupted everything in her on her building. Yeah, and she couldn't figure it out. She didn't know they were putting that anyway. And long story short, that's what it was. They had installed a cell phone tower on top of her building.
Yeah, I have a friend that lived in an area, and they put one up, and she had to move out of her house and was living in a tent outside until we were able to build up a barrier to keep it from penetrating into her home.
And there are all kinds of ways that you can react. I mean, she was tingling and numb and all kinds of things going on, heart palpitations and all that. Marnie was, but isn't that okay? Okay, keep talking.
So we really just don't know what the impact of this is going to be.
Okay.
There are protection things for this, but not like put this device up and it's going to suck everything in and you'll be safe, or put this little sticker on it and you'll be safe, or plug this in and it's going to be safe. None of those are effective. What they basically do is just create so much noise you can't see what's happening below. Okay. The only effective thing that we have ever found, and this is just our experience and the experience that people have told me about, is to shield it. Okay. And to put a shield up to protect it. And I said the good thing is the stuff at this frequency, how fast it's vibrating, it can be easily shielded.
Okay.
Unlike last week when I talked about there's no way to shield it.
That's right.
Okay. So if you've got your Gauss meter,
Look, I bought a Gauss meter this week, guys.
This is Dani's new Gauss meter.
This is the one I bought.
If you have a Gauss meter and you have magnetic fields, you can't shield those. You've got to fix those. But with this frequency we're talking about, you can shield it.
Okay.
And there's materials and devices and things like that you can do. We don't think it's going to penetrate the walls that much, especially if you have a brick home.
Okay.
But if you have a home that's not brick, because it's not as thick, it will penetrate it some. We just don't know how much. But the windows are the big thing.
So what would you do? Because that's what they're going to want to know is what would you do? How would you shield your windows?
There's a couple of ways. The most expensive way is to put double paned argon inside the window type windows.
Argon?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's a noble gas. It's a gas. It's an inert gas. And if that goes in between the windows, they're the energy efficient windows. So some people already have them.
They already have. Okay.
They're double paned, and inside of it has a gas.
Okay. Really?
That creates two levels, and so typically that'll shield it. Just be advised though that if you've got the the plastic that goes around the outside, it comes through there. Okay, so your window frame itself, it may actually be coming in through your window frame. All right, because remember we're talking about thickness. Thickness is what's going to block this.
Okay. All right.
There are a ton of materials that are available that you can buy. There are films that you can put on your windows that will protect against RF. Some of them are fairly low intensity so that you can still see out the windows and see in. From the outside, it looks like it's all reflective and nobody can see in, but from the inside, you can see out.
Okay.
So those are available.
Can you find those on Amazon, or where do you have to go to find this stuff?
I don't really know who's selling it now.
Okay.
I'd have to do some research. I mean, some of my friends are selling it, but I'm not here to plug my friends. But they sell it. If you're in a poor man's environment to do it,
yes.
Remember, is creating a sleeping sanctuary. Let's say your child is exhibiting problems and you think this is an issue. Solar blankets that you can buy like at Walmart, or some place, Amazon.
Tell it. Yeah.
You know, some place that are used for survival. You know, that works because basically they're just aluminum and they're going to reflect it back.
Oh, solar blankets, like when you run a marathon or something.
Yeah, exactly. The same thing. Or your tinfoil hat.
Aluminum foil.
Aluminum foil, your tinfoil hat.
What do you mean a tinfoil hat?
There are people that there's a cap you can buy that's actually lined with aluminum so that you're not hit with everything bombarding your head.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Did y'all know you could buy a tinfoil hat?
There are clothes, there's t-shirts that are available, there's clothing that's all available that's lined with metal in order to protect from this.
Well,
but you can buy the fabric.
Uh-huh.
And let's say you're talking about a child, especially like, a baby that's showing signs that maybe, perhaps you've tested or whatever it is, that you've tested it or y'all tested your own kids for it and you've seen their reaction. You brought a cell phone in and you see they react badly to a cell phone. You can buy material that's lined with metal. Okay. Just let me be cautious. If your child has problem with high metal content,
yeah,
you don't necessarily want to bring metal into their home because that can also be an issue. There's paints that are available that you can paint walls with that will protect. So
we could paint the walls. And would a traditional place like Home Depot or Sherwin
they don't
Williams
have a clue.
Porter paint? They don't know.
They don't have a clue. So you'll have to go to one of the sites that sells EMR protective devices. Again, focus on the sleeping area, folks.
Focus on, that's right.
And the first thing I would do is actually just try blocking it before I went to all the expense of buying the paint and painting it and filming it, see if you see an impact.
Okay.
Some of the things we used to do with the children who are autistic is we'd have bunk beds and we'd take the lower bunk bed and we'd surround it with this to see if it would help make a difference and if the child then would respond better to the treatment that they were undergoing. So that, they were already doing the gluten casein free sort of thing. And then we would do this to them to see if that would help in the treatments.
Okay.
And it works not every time. Some kids responded really well, some didn't, but that's the nature of the business.
Teresa says, I guess I need to build an underground house. So
just don't bring in Wi-Fi.
That's right. Just don't bring in Wi-Fi. And this information is not made to scare you, but for darn sure made to educate you, right? I mean, and ideally we're working on making your bedroom a sanctuary, ideally. But you all need to know the big grand scheme of things here and what's coming down the road and what is 5G and all of those things. So, know.
Well, and I chuckle about that in a sense because we actually had a client who had lupus and had to live in her basement because of the exposure then to the magnetic fields. I mean, not the high frequency fields.
Really?
So we've had individuals that have done that.
Well, hopefully we won't have to do any of that. But and we're going to talk about this later. She's not actually mentioning the exact websites and things like that. But we are going to have a workshop, by the way. So we'll just give you a little teaser here. We're going to have a workshop at the office. And when we do that, we will need definitely to tell them where to go. Reputable websites.
People that you
have worked with, because she works all over the world. And I mean, I have done a lot of research going to website to website, and I don't know what's good and what's not. And they all sell stickers for your phone, and they all do these things that I have no idea if these clothes are right, that or the what are they? Faraday
cage.
Faraday cages. I mean, I'm like, what the heck is a Faraday cage? I knew it when she mentioned it tonight. But you don't know who's reputable and who's just trying to take your money.
Well, if the thing is the stickers and all of that, we've seen no impact whatsoever. I'll just flat out say that. Crystals, people will sell you crystals and tell you can put crystals on and that'll take care of it. And the crystals are at a specific frequency.
Right.
And so they will help at that specific frequency.
Okay. And that's what Mary Ellen was asking. Will they help in your home? If so, what kind of crystals?
Again, the issue will be you're only addressing one type of signal. And we're talking, I was telling Dani earlier, there are like 3,000 signals here and frequencies we're talking about in this whole realm.
Wow.
I mean, we're talking megahertz, which is 6 million, to gigahertz, which is 6,000 million. All right. So we're dealing with everything from 6 million to 6,000, and no one crystal hits all of those bands.
No.
And you can't really find, you could say, oh, look, I've got this crystal and it's going to work with my cordless telephone.
Right.
Okay. And it may be quite good with your 2.4 gigahertz cordless telephone.
Right.
But if I walk in and put in a 5G at 28 gigahertz, that crystal's useless. So if with this whole issue about, I don't even know what we were talking about, 28G, or
Yes.
which is what the new 5G is going to be. If you've got a crystal, the issue with the crystal may be that you're allergic to 2.4 gigahertz.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you get a crystal that helps with 2.4 gigahertz, what a crystal will actually do is absorb it and change the signal so it's no longer 2.4 gigahertz.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so that's actually what it's doing, is it's changing that, altering that frequency a bit.
Isn't that?
And it's the same thing is true with essential oil.
I know,
by the way.
that's
It's
what we're
the same sort of thing. So if that works for you because you're allergic to it, then that will be great. Okay.
Right.
But the 28 gigahertz may come along and hurt you again.
Wow.
Okay. So don't just think that one product is going to help.
Okay.
Which
So
is,
that's the takeaway right
Yeah.
there. There's not one product to fix all of these different frequencies.
and they
all
keep
these-
changing them so often that it's very difficult to try to come up with anything that keeps working.
Okay.
So that's why we say shield the bedroom
shield the bedroom.
so that nothing gets in. Build your own Faraday cage. A Faraday cage is nothing but a room that's surrounded that doesn't allow any electromagnetics in it. So once you take care of the electric field and the magnetic field we talked about last week,
Yes.
now you got to take care of something to build you a Faraday cage to sleep in. Metal roofs. I mean, we're not talking about things that, I mean, they're available.
So I can get, because I'm getting ready to get a new roof. Okay, so a person, hold on, I'm going to plug this computer back in, even though it's going to charge us up, because I don't understand why we went off a minute ago, and I don't want to risk that. But so I'm getting ready to get a new roof here. So somebody who's thinking about a new roof, I
Go
don't have
metal.
a metal roof. Go metal.
Go metal.
Okay, that's a huge tip.
Yeah, go metal.
Go a metal roof. Okay,
And don't put solar panels on top of it.
no solar panels.
Right. Because actually on the solar panel thing, it says don't install these above bedrooms.
Really?
It says the same thing on satellite dishes too, by the way, TV dishes. Do not put this above a bedroom.
I didn't know that. I love to go to places who have solar. Oh, no. Solar panels. Never mind. Solar panels. I'm thinking about
Sun lamps.
yeah, whatever those things, where it's
Yeah.
cut out in the ceiling. You
Yeah,
can
and that's
see up
fine.
there.
I don't care
Okay,
about
never mind.
those.
No. Don't put a solar panel above a bedroom. Get a metal roof, and don't put your satellite dish above your bedroom.
Right.
Okay.
And it says this on all the install guides, but most people don't read those.
So I'm going to get a metal roof.
Get a metal
I'm sure
roof.
they're a lot more expensive than a regular roof.
But
Or-
having said that, don't bring a 5G antenna into your home, because guess what it's going to do against that metal roof? Ga-boing, 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 ga-boing.
Yeah, but okay, so here's the thing. How are we going to get away from getting a 5G? Because everybody's it's going 5G.
Yeah.
So how do you say no? Or are we going to have to go to 5G, or can we stay on 4G?
If you're using like a wireless router in your home now,
Yes.
okay, most people, those wireless routers are going to either become 5G, or you're going to live in an environment that there's a 5G antenna close enough you no longer need your wireless router.
Okay.
Okay. All right, if that's the case, that's not a good thing for you.
No.
Okay. Now, again, not everybody's going to react to this stuff, and we're all not going to react the same way. That's how people get by with it. You may get headaches. I may get the jitters. I
Right.
may have restless leg syndrome. I, may have leaky gut syndrome.
Right.
All of these things, and we're all going to behave differently as our cells go into this weird environment. And so it's easy for me to say, no, not everybody had a headache, and they didn't get it 3.7 days after exposure, so therefore it can't cause problems. But that's what we're going to hear.
It's basically like the wild, wild west out there for this, because they don't know
They don't know.
what's going on, and it's just they're making it up as they go. And
How about the lovely three-letter term GMO?
yeah,
When they started GMO, did they know what was going to happen to the human body when it was exposed to that?
no.
Or DDT?
Oh yeah.
All of this stuff that
Oh.
we think is going to be, look, this is going to be good because we're not going to have mosquitoes anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Or any of the pesticides, any of that stuff was done, and we were human guinea pigs.
Yeah.
And now we're all suffering as a result of it.
Yes. Yeah. We're
You know?
still human guinea pigs.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So
I mean, plastics. I mean, everything they've done is, so this is just the next step or the current step.
okay. All right, guys, since you all are just logged back on, it looks like a whole new crew on here. We already went 30 minutes into this, and then the video cut off, just suddenly cut off somehow. You know, they stepped in and shut me down. So this is part 2 of the Sunday night service. So hit your button so we know where that you're on here. Okay, what's next? We're talking 5G.
Okay, well, you asked the question about dirty electricity.
What is dirty electricity? I don't understand it.
All right, see if I can explain this in layman's terms. I got accused of glassing your eyes over last week, so I've got to see if I can.
I have to bring it back to common sense, practical, dumb it down for me. So,
okay,
dirty electricity.
Do you understand now that when I talk about frequency, I'm talking about things going up and down?
Yes, so look back here, guys, for y'all can see right there from last week. Okay, woo, there we go.
Okay.
There's frequency and magnitude.
Exactly.
Correct?
Got it.
Okay, got it.
All right. What's coming out of the walls operates at 60 hertz.
Yes.
So at 60 times a second, it goes through the wave pattern.
Okay.
All right.
Got it? Second. Yes, got it.
Okay. Our computers, our televisions, anything that we plug in that has a little box attached to it.
Yes.
All right. Is transforming that.
Yes.
And it's transforming it from that changes to a flat line that's called DC.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So it's charging your batteries or anything that works, and all, you know, your television works off of 12 volts DC.
Okay.
But what's coming out of the walls is 120 volts doing this.
Okay.
When it transforms that or changes it to a solid line,
yes,
it creates spikes in the system. So there's spikes. If you were to take a picture of what's coming out of your wall, there would be these spikes.
Okay.
Those spikes are what's called dirty electricity.
Really?
Now, those...
What's bad about that?
Again, they've seen, and there's been some studies on it. Most of them have been studies where individuals have reported issues with it, as opposed to scientific studies about what it's causing. Because I get back to what I said earlier, for those of you that were on earlier, we don't really know why the body responds to the way it does to different frequencies. But these spikes that are occurring, all right, cause havoc with our body's ability to communicate electrically. Okay. So we've seen issues like MS patients that have been impacted by the presence of these. We've seen issues with fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, restless leg syndrome.
Yes.
All of these things where it's neurons firing, okay?
Right.
And the neurons don't know how to communicate in this smog.
Right.
That's dirty electricity.
Okay. And we clean it up the same way we're talking about everything else, or no?
No.
Oh my gosh, this stuff it's unbelievable.
There is one specific company out there may be more now, but back when I was doing this, there was one company that was selling devices that claimed they were cleaning the dirty electricity.
Okay.
And I'm sure they were, and they had some case studies where people got better as a result of it. But again, they were only cleaning one aspect of this whole thing. Remember, we've got 60 hertz stuff, magnetic field. We got all sorts of things going on. They weren't touching the Wi-Fi. They weren't touching the cell phones. They weren't touching anything else. So it's like cleaning, you know, again, one aspect of the whole thing.
Okay.
You know, you've got a blemish on your face. Let me take care of that. Now you're healthy. Okay.
Yeah, doesn't work.
It doesn't work that way.
That's right.
You know, you talk about starting with the gut, but you don't talk about it's only the gut.
Right. No.
That's just where you start.
That's right.
Okay. So this is sort of the same thing. Dirty electricity may be what you're allergic to the most.
Okay.
You know, everybody's different, because I've had a lot of people say they've had no impact from it. And then, so we clean that up, and that's fine, but that doesn't mean you're not going to be affected by something else.
Right.
Because typically people who are impacted, as you well know, they're impacted by a ton of things.
Well, true.
It's not just the one thing that's going on.
Well, just like when I cut out dairy, when I don't eat dairy, my joint pain goes away, right? So, I mean, my joint pain goes away. But that doesn't mean anything else is fixed. I mean, I'm working on the inflammation. It's helping decrease the inflammation, but it's just a piece of the whole thing.
That's right.
Of this stress in my life, right? The gluten, the sugar, the corn, the eggs, am I taking myself? I mean, it's just one tiny piece. So it's the same
thing here.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to take it out because I feel better, but it's just addressing one tiny part of it.
And that's the same thing with dirty electricity. And unfortunately, at least 20 years ago when I was heavy into this, or 15 years ago, I don't know how long it's been, the particular company that sells it was saying, this is all you have to take care of.
Okay, which we know is wrong.
And that was kind of my problem with their approach. Is it a problem? Yes, for some people. Now, I want to stop here because I want to backtrack. Everybody out there is going to be scared and they're going to go, my world, I'm going to die tomorrow. Well, I can promise you that you're going to die.
Yes, right.
Okay?
Without a shadow of a
Tomorrow,
doubt.
probably not, but you're going to die. Now, here's the issue with all of this, okay? We're talking about long-term exposure.
Yes.
Treating somebody with frequency, and I mean frequency electricity, okay? Rife machines that treat with electricity. People that are treating Lyme's disease by exposing people to certain frequencies because that's where the Lyme disease dies.
Right.
The Rife machine is, successful in treating cancer patients with specific frequencies, specific electricity. That works. Electricity has been used to enhance bone growth. Back in the 80s, I guess 80s, actually maybe in the 90s, everybody was into using magnets to treat everything.
Right.
Use a magnet. Here's a pillow to sleep on. Here's a bed to sleep on, and this is all good. Those are okay for treatments. But don't think that everybody's going to respond the same, and it's not long-term exposure.
Right.
Use it for a treatment, but don't think I've got to always live in this environment.
Okay.
So it's like drinking wine. We all know that red wine is good for us, and dark chocolate is good for us, right? That doesn't mean we're going to go out and eat 300 pounds of dark chocolate or drink a gallon of wine.
No.
So it's the same thing as far as electricity goes. And so I don't want you to think, oh my word, my doctor says that I'm being treated for Lyme's disease and he's given me this electricity frequency thing because he or she has tested and discovered that your Lyme disease will die at that frequency.
Right.
By all means, sleep in it, until you recover from it.
Right. Exactly.
Then we can talk about other things. So, don't think that I'm saying all electricity is bad and it should never be used. It should be. Typically, we don't see overexposure to essential oils, but we have seen people become dependent upon specific essential oils.
Really?
And they're almost addicted to it because the body craves that particular frequency. Oh, and I'm not sure that's healthy.
Right. No.
Okay. Any more than it would be, a specific crystal or anything like that. The same thing goes across. I mean, you don't want to become addicted to whatever it may be.
So that's something.
So, and of course, people who do biofeedback, great program. It works. But people crave the high from it.
Yes. And
when it becomes an addiction, it's no longer what I consider healthy anymore.
Right. Okay. So, they're saying, or somebody says, Teresa says, I have some inserts for my shoes. I don't know what kind of inserts. And somebody else is asking, do you have, are smart meters bad? Well, we addressed smart meters last week. If you watched last week's Sunday night service, we talked about smart meters.
Nope.
What?
You talked about it in the first 30 minutes tonight, but not last week.
Smart? Are you sure?
Yeah.
We didn't talk about it last week?
We may have mentioned they were magnetic fields, but most of the issue with smart meters
I thought you talked about how they went off like constantly or something. Briefly.
Yeah.
Maybe you said
I probably did briefly.
Okay.
At least I answered that question when we were surveying your home.
Okay.
But smart meters are bad in the sense of if they are set up by the people who don't know what they're doing, they will set them up to transmit 24/7.
That's right.
And if they transmit 24/7, especially if it's located within 2 walls of a sleeping area. So if it's on the outside of a bedroom wall, then it's going to be an issue because it'll penetrate right through the wall. And it'll come through the wall and it'll be a 24/7 noise background that's always constant.
Okay.
Now, you can ask the smart meter or the utility company, they're supposed to honor this, whether they do or not, I can't answer that.
Right.
To say, I only want it to transmit once a day. Because
Okay.
that's all they need is a signal once a day.
Okay, so you can ask them. They may or they may not honor that. Okay, so I didn't know about that.
And if it only sends once a day,
I don't have.
it's like texting,
Okay.
and there's no biological response to it.
I wonder if you can ask them to transmit it once a day when you're at work, when
That's-
you're not here.
It's irrelevant
Doesn't
either
matter.
way.
Does
Doesn't make
not
any
matter at
difference.
all.
Nope.
Okay.
And the
Okay.
reason is, in order for your body to respond to this, the current test, and don't get me wrong, tomorrow the test may change, or somebody may have changed it last week and I hadn't read it yet. So don't, you
Don't
know.
hold her accountable.
For the body to respond to these signals, the signal needs to be held for 20 seconds.
Okay.
And I think we talked about that last week.
Yes.
So if you're texting somebody, because
That's
it's
right.
just quickly gone and back, or if you're changing the channels on your TV, it's quickly gone and back. The same thing with a smart meter. It quickly sends the signal out and comes back. It doesn't lock in.
Okay.
And if it doesn't lock in, then you won't have a biological impact to it because it takes that long for your cells to respond.
Why do they even need a smart meter then? Why do they even need it to transmit every minute is what I'm saying. What is that?
That's just,
Why?
that's default.
That's just
The
default.
meter itself comes out. So that way they don't have to go out and program your individual meter to transmit at this time of day.
Okay.
So they just put it up and let it, that's the default.
Okay.
Now, having said that, because they are transmitters, and it's transmitters that are the issue, not the receivers, except for satellite dishes. Those are receivers, which cause problems. But most of these things are transmitters that are on their house. So the transformer, that big round thing sitting up on the telephone line, or the big green box out in front of your house, according to how your wires are run,
Yes.
that's actually receiving the signal, usually isn't a biological hazard because it's just receiving it.
So okay. Okay. I didn't know that.
Now that big green box,
I didn't want to be
Now,
near a big green
that
box.
big green box goes back to last week
Yes.
when we were measuring everything with this thing.
Yes.
So it's
yes.
a different signal. So I'm not saying it's not an
Okay.
issue. It's just, remember, we've got this frequency, this frequency, this frequency, this
Yeah,
frequency.
yeah,
We got
yeah.
a whole bunch of stuff out there in the smog.
Oh, Janetta's on tonight.
Hey, G.
Janetta is Vicki's colleague with Wings of Eagles Healthy Living, which I will post back up here. It's on the first video from tonight.
She's
Their
my,
link.
she's my boss.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, she's on tonight. So okay, all right. So okay, what else are we gonna talk about? How you have a bunch of stuff back there too.
Oh, I have a device that measures all of this stuff. And
It's
you know,
scary looking. It looks like some big antenna thing. I don't know.
But I really want to talk about the seminar. Can I talk?
Yes,
Put in a
this is
plug
what-
for the seminar.
Okay, so guys, you all don't know this. So guess what we're gonna do? This was Vicki and Janetta's idea.
After last week and dealing with Dani and talking to Dani, Janetta and I had a discussion about this, and we thought that what we could offer is a 2-hour seminar where you would bring in your meters, the meters that we suggest you buy. We don't care. We'll tell you the type of meter, where you get them. We don't care. Okay. And we will show you how to use your meters and how to create your own sleeping sanctuaries.
If you are interested in this, I need you to hit your heart buttons now. All right. And you can actually post and say, yes, that's not going to mean anything though, because we're going to actually have it sign up. There's going to be a link on my website. We will end up doing all of that, but that's our plan.
Yeah. Now we want to limit it to like 15 people to start with. And
That's
the reason
right.
we want to limit it is we're going to have it at Dani's office.
Yes.
And what we'll do is we've decided we'll spike it, if you will, not the punch. Okay.
That's
But
no
we'll
fun.
spike it with areas of high electromagnetic fields and teach you how to go around and find problems that you might find in your own bedrooms.
Wow.
And then we'll tell you how you can fix them and what you can do about them and things like that as well.
Don't you all think that sounds fascinating?
But we're thinking a couple of hours.
2 hours.
That we'll do that. We're going to limit how many people we
Get all
can
these
have.
hearts.
We'll start with 15. If there's enough interest, we'll do another one. And our reason for the 15 is we want to make sure everybody that shows up feels confident enough to go home and do their own bedrooms, their kids' bedrooms, their sister's bedroom, their neighbor's bedroom. Your enemy's bedroom. We don't care who you do.
You walk around your whole neighborhood with your meters and
But what we ask you to do is you can share a meter with one other individual. So if 2 of you sign up, you can have 1 meter between them. But that's all. We don't want one person to show up with 5 people. I mean, 1 meter and 5 people.
That's exactly right. So
Because
you will
each of
definitely
you
need your
to get
meters.
your hands on the meters themselves.
Mhm.
And we'll tell you what the meters are.
Yeah.
The meters are a little expensive. We're probably talking about $30 to $40 worth on Amazon.
Yeah.
So we'll tell you specifically which ones. If you already have one or you want to go get your own, we don't care.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, they don't have any association with any meter. So I bought one that was a little more expensive. Mine was like $130, but I wanted to use it all at the office and let my neighbors use it and all that kind of stuff. So I paid a little bit more money, but she told me that I bought one that was totally fine, but the $30 one would have been perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
yeah, we're not talking about, like I said, go in with somebody else and buy them, and the two of you show up for this.
okay.
That's kind of our thought process, is to empower you to do your own.
Yes.
And part of that comes from is we always get the questions, will you come out and survey my home? And, you know, and though we would love to do that, the nonprofit we run is really more about empowering you to do your own home.
Exactly.
Okay. And that's really what our goal is.
Making your home, making your bedroom for sure a sanctuary. And so I'm glad, because there was a ton of interest in this, and just post it up there if you're interested. We will let you know. If you have not, I tell you what, one way that you're going to find out for sure, if any of you are not on my email list for my office. So all you have to do is go to DaniWilliamson.com. On the very front, I think it'll say sign up or whatever. It's where you put your email address. Okay. Put your email address in there tonight. Now you will be on the email list, on our newsletter list. And that's how you will know. You'll know through Facebook and through that. But you need to get on there and get your email, and I can see who goes on there tonight. So when I go log on and look behind the back scenes, I'll know who listened to me and did it. All right. So sign up and we'll do that. Somebody asked what meter. This is the meter that I bought. I have no idea. I literally just plugged it or put the battery in that came with it. That's the one I bought. You can get any meter you want, but that's the one I bought.
The meter you're looking for is a Gauss meter.
Yeah. The Gauss meter.
Gauss meter.
Yes. And Lisa, so you said I need to buy a meter. I bought this from Amazon. But when you type in Gauss
meter,
yeah, a gazillion show up. And this was maybe 4 or 5 down on it. And I debated between the $30 one and this one. And I just went a little bit more because I knew I'd have you guys on and all that. And I wanted to just, so.
Hers is fancier, so it's going to take me longer to teach her how to use hers.
Yeah, I don't understand any of those buttons. I was poking stuff and it was all, yeah. So, okay. So that is a big deal. And we're going to do that. And we haven't talked to Janetta yet. So we don't know
about the dates
yet, but it's going to be very soon, as in February.
we want to do it quickly because it seems like y'all are really interested in this, and
yes,
we want you to know, now,
yes,
what's going on. But our focus is, create your own sleeping sanctuary. You don't really need us to show up to do it.
That's
so we can teach you how to do it, and you can go out and do this for all of your family and friends.
That's right. This is going to be fun, guys. So just from me just being interested in this 5G and all this cell phone stuff, look what we've turned around and done. 3 weeks of this and going to have a workshop. So see, little ripples. You never know. What else?
All right. So I'm going to show you real quickly. This is the lovely meter, and this is not one you need to go out and buy. Okay. Well, I don't know if y'all can see it.
Let me turn the light. Let me turn this light on over
Okay.
here so I make it.
It looks like a Christmas tree. We call it our Christmas tree meter. All right. Now this is the one for testing Wi-Fi. And it's not one you need to get onto. It's got a whole bunch of buttons on front, most of which make no difference to anybody. But I just want to show you, this is what you're getting bombarded with, or we are right now. Now that's what's happening to our bodies.
Look what happened to my hair.
That's it. She's
Okay,
electric. Now this, of course, is because she's streaming with her phone and with the computer on right now.
Yeah, I've got everything going
above,
crazy.
Above it. But this is what we would use if the issue was in somebody's bedroom. We wanted to identify what window needed to be protected.
Oh.
Because a 4G and tower was out there and sending signals in. So
Okay.
this is the way we could identify specifically what window it is. Unfortunately, we feel like with 5G, it's no longer going to be necessary to use that because we'll tell you already it's coming in.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah.
So,
okay.
so the use of this meter, we think, is no longer going to be
gonna be
necessary. It'll be
obsolete.
coming in the future.
Okay.
But
Okay.
if you've seen shows like CSI or NCIS or whatever, and they're all measuring radio frequency, this is the one that they use to show you how they measure microwave energy and all that stuff.
Really?
Yeah. And,
Huh.
and it's what was used when they used this energy signal to bombard the embassy in Moscow and the embassy in Cuba to make everybody sick.
What?
Oh, you didn't know that?
Well, yeah, I heard all about it, but I didn't know.
They were sending microwaves in.
I
So,
don't. Goodness, people! I tell
but
you what.
those are really strong microwaves, kind of like what 5G is going to be about that strength.
Oh, great, guys! I swear, what have we done?
Well,
I'm telling you.
But hey, just think: every foot you walk, 24/7, you'll be able to stream some movie because it's absolutely essential that we're able to do that.
Listen to her; she's a smart aleck over here. I'm telling you, she's telling us the truth over here. So, okay, what else? Do we have other things to go over?
Wireless routers.
Okay, wireless routers.
Turn them off at night.
Turn them off at night.
Okay. If they're located at least 2 walls or 2 floors from every sleeping area, you're probably okay.
Okay, but if it's only 1 floor, so if it's underneath, so right here, I only have 1 level in my house, so I don't have to worry about it, and I do have it 2 walls away from my bedroom. But if I had somebody's bedroom right up above here, and there's my wireless router over there,
Then it's a problem.
it's a problem.
Yep.
So
Or-
people who just have a 2-story house,
Or people who live in a condo.
oh Lord, and their neighbors have got them all around. You got
got
3. You got 3 wireless routers
Yeah.
around you.
Yep. Congratulations. There's no way to get away from it if you live in a condo. Now, I would tell you, if this is your router right here,
Yes.
and if you're sick and you're hanging out on your couch,
Yes,
that thing ought to be off.
turn it off.
Now, I also recommend to people, you can buy those little cheap timers, and turn the routers off at 11 o'clock at night or midnight, whatever time y'all go to bed, and turn it back on at 6 in the morning.
Where do we get something like that?
Oh, any building supply company or Amazon.com.
Amazon, I'm telling you, man.
I mean, and you don't. I mean, it's what's used for when you go on vacation and you want your lights to go on and off at different times. So it's something like that, and you can just have it on a timer all the time, and it goes off at that time of night and comes on the next day. And then somebody's going to say, "Well, but my telephone runs off of it, or my television runs off." I get all that, but folks, these are choices.
Yep. That's exactly right.
I mean,
choices.
These are choices you're making. And if that's the choice you want to make, and not everybody is going to be impacted by it.
That's right. And I don't feel impacted, but I believe my daughter was and is. But I feel good, although we know I've got a lot of electricity going through me. I'm pretty, we tested that last week.
But that's not from your router. That's from something else.
Yeah.
So remember, the router's only one
source of it. So guys, this stuff is complicated, which is why we're going to break it down for you guys at a workshop. So, okay. So turn off your router, get it at least two walls away from you.
Or 2 floors, whatever it may be.
2 walls or 2 floors away from you. The stickers on the back of your phones do not work. What I read was that they can even make it worse. If you're trying to block something, it can even make it work harder. Is that correct? Or am I totally wrong with what I read? That it could potentially make it worse.
It could potentially make it worse.
Okay.
That's usually not the case that it makes it worse.
Okay.
If there's any impact at all, it's pretty minimal. Now the people that market it will tell you I'm full of it. I'll be quite honest with you. They'll say, "Oh, absolutely, it works." But the test results show it's more of a placebo effect than anything else.
That's what I've read. What I read.
You put it on, I feel better. Okay, does that make a difference? Well, it's a placebo effect. Do you feel better? Okay.
Well, you feel better.
Is it as good as me saying, "Have a good day," and you feel better? Well, it works.
Okay.
Now, crystals we know have a biological impact. Essential oils we know have a biological impact. But again, only in a very small specific range.
Okay.
Don't think you can put a crystal on your child and send them to school and they're going to be safe. Okay. It
Lord.
just isn't gonna work.
Well, that's a whole nother show on sending your child to school with wireless routers in the classroom. And they all have an iPad now, and they have all their books on a computer and all those things. That's a whole nother 2-hour
Well,
workshop.
You scare you even more?
Yeah, scare me.
Where did you used to work? In a hospital?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. In an emergency room.
Yeah. You think you had anything wireless in your hospital?
Everything
Everything
was
is wireless.
Everything.
And we've got sick people there.
Oh my goodness. And sick people are trying. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So what do they do? I mean, are there any hospitals stepping their game up and protecting?
I can't answer that.
I
I'm not
wonder.
aware.
That's a
I'm not aware of
whole
any.
nother,
That's a
any of
whole
you out
different
there,
game.
that's a whole nother business venture right there, where if you could convince them, that's the thing. And it's just like the schools. Are there school systems that are?
Now that's true. There are school systems around the world that have outlawed using wireless in the school systems because they've seen the direct impact to kids with ADHD.
Well, you said around the world, so we're talking in other countries.
Exactly.
I would suspect. Now, I don't know if there's somebody in the United States that's outlawed it, and there may be, but I would suspect not.
I've heard
maybe
some
not.
of the Montessori schools have.
Well, my kids were both in Montessori when they were little,
but,
so that's interesting.
You know, but that's basically, there's some private schools that may have outlawed it and recognize the issue.
This gal says, my daughter's wireless router is in her bedroom. As long as she turns it off at night, is she okay?
It's
if she's sleeping.
Yeah, if she turns it off when she sleeps, that's fine. But if she's sick, okay, and she's in there a lot, then it's not healthy for her because she's not going to recover.
Right.
So
we can't recover
if
for
she,
constantly.
you know, if it's constantly being bombarded and all this stuff at the cellular level, there's an impact. We don't understand it. We just know it's true. But turning, you know, have it go off at night, put it on a timer, whatever it may be, but turn it off at night. And again, it's going to be the same story. But if she's sick, or if she shares a bedroom wall with another child or an individual who's sick, they're going to be impacted by that router as well.
Oh, goodness.
So
Mike says, what about a cell phone's hotspot? Is the level of impact similar to a home Wi-Fi, or is energy level notably less? Those hotspots that you can, you know, find. I don't know anything about hotspots, but where you can connect.
No, it's the same as a router. In fact,
Okay.
it may be actually a little higher. And the reason is a router normally is only going to be an issue for the people that, if you're actually transmitting data at that time or receiving data, then the router is going to be transmitting it. So if it's a heavy use in a home for a router, then it's going to be bad. Cell phone hotspots are always heavy use. You know, if you're the only one there, maybe not so much, but if there's more people there on the hotspot, then it's going to be pretty heavy use.
If you're sitting in an airport.
Yeah.
Oh
Or
my
on an
gosh.
airplane. Oh, that was the other thing I want to talk about.
gosh,
Glad
you
you brought it up.
Yes.
Forgot all
Thank you,
about
Mike,
that.
for the reminder.
Somebody asked last week, or the whole conversation
Oh.
about when I go through security at an airport, how
Yes.
much am I being damaged?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I had to look the numbers up just to make sure, because I wanted to check on that. Basically, the radiation we get exposed to naturally through a year is about 6 millisievert. Okay, it's measured in MS, in case you're wondering. So it's about 6 milli. Milli is 10 to the minus 3, so it's 0.006.
Oh, yeah. I
Okay.
remember all that from
All right.
my
Yeah,
school.
yeah, yeah.
in
All of the
Gilbertsville,
SI
Kentucky.
units.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
If you go through the security at an airport, you're
Okay.
being exposed to 0.001 milli.
Oh,
Okay, so it's nominal.
okay.
Once you get on the airplane and you
Okay.
fly up above, if the flight's like 4 hours or so,
Yes.
okay, then you're getting exposed to what would be equivalent to 2 X-rays.
Two x-rays.
Okay, so which is 100 times worse than what you're exposed to when you walk through the security thing. So if you're willing to get on an airplane and fly somewhere, like a 3-4 hour flight, then you're exposed to a heck of a lot more than you are if you go through the little security thing.
Wow. Isn't that something? And we worry about going through the security. Everybody like, I'm going to get patted
Yeah.
down. I'm not going through. I'm going to opt out. Okay.
And it's the airplane that's the higher exposure.
Oh my gosh. Well, then when you turn on the Wi-Fi.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I'm getting ready to go to
congrats.
Miami here in February. I just made my reservation today. So when I get on that, so that's going to be my next flight in February. So when no, that's a lie. New York in February. It doesn't matter where I'm going. When I get on there and I want to do my email and I want to do all of this, and because I don't have time during the week, that's a bad thing.
It's totally irrelevant whether you do or not, because everybody else is. and you're going to be exposed whether you do it or not.
And is there any way to protect yourself on an airplane? I'm just visualizing a tinfoil hat. Because when I think about that, I'm just laughing. What would you have to do to protect yourself on an airplane? I could see me going in.
Think, the hazmat suits?
Yes.
Yeah, the hazmat suit would work, but make sure it's a metal.
So if you're sitting next to me in February with a hazmat suit on, oh my gosh. So there's really nothing. Nothing. Just make sure your body detoxes on its own. I mean, we have to work on all of that. Listen, this is something though, and we can get right back to the airplane, but I had 2 questions about this last week and we didn't do it. CPAP machine. So patients who have a constant CPAP have something plugged in.
How do I turn, because last week I suggested you turn the breaker off that feeds the electricity around your bed.
Exactly.
And the question is going to come forth, how do I do that if I need a CPAP machine? Okay. The only real way to do that, and you're not going to like it, but the only real way, one is you can get a longer tube to feed the CPAP machine so that you can actually get the machine further away from you. Okay. So you can actually get a longer tube that goes into the breathing mask.
Oh.
All right. That will help some because with last week, I kept throwing out 6 feet, 6 feet, 6 feet is the distance, right? And if you've got a short tube, your CPAP's closer. You can get a longer tube, that works because it'll pull it away. But now, how do I run it if I have to turn off the breaker?
Yes.
I've got to plug it in. What I do at home, because I still have things that run off electricity in my bedroom, they're 6 feet away, and I turn the circuit breaker off. I actually have an extension cord that runs along the wall from the next room over that I don't turn off so that to a power strip so that I can plug it in. But it's still 6 feet away, so that I can keep it as far as possible and away from us. But I can do it. Now, having said all that, that's a pain to do. And it is extremely inconvenient, and I get it. Okay?
Right.
However, if you can at least try it,
yes. Yes.
And you got to try it for more than 1 or 2 days because we find people who get sick in the first 2 days. It's like detoxing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So if you can do this, try it for a week and see if it makes an impact, and then you can determine what is the most convenient way to do it. Now, of course, then I get the question, well, now I have this funny extension cord running into my bedroom. And of course, my next question is health, or are you going to be on home living and worried about what your bedroom looks like?
Right.
All right.
Because I remember you saying that to Dr. Mercola. How many people are actually in your bedroom, Dr. Mercola? And his response was, well, you'd be surprised. And I was like, oh, what would that mean? I mean, he said it. It's on his thing. So I was like, well, all right. But I am moving my bed. I haven't yet because I've got that big old green avocado mattress and it's so heavy I can't flip my bed. I can't move my bed anymore easily. But I'm moving it okay, so CPAP's a big deal. I mean, I have a lot of patients on a CPAP machine. And so Lisa asked that question. Actually, a couple of people did.
Another thing is, I understand, again, I don't use a CPAP, I use a mouthpiece.
Okay.
I understand that the battery powered ones don't cause the travel CPAPs.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Don't have near the electromagnetic field that the other ones do.
Isn't that something, untreated sleep apnea takes on average 10 to 16 years off your lifespan. That's a fact. I know that through Dr. Noah, who owns sleep centers in Middle Tennessee. We're trying to protect our lifespan and extend our lifespan, right, by treating sleep apnea. And then we have all these electromagnetic fields go. I mean, it's just, you can make yourself crazy over this stuff, and don't do it. Do the best you can, best you can to clean it up.
I had 2 doctors whom we have discussed, but who have told me that when they turn the electricity off for the bedroom, they no longer needed a CPAP.
Oh my gosh.
That it was the electricity that was keeping them awake and waking them up in the middle of the night.
Okay, that's interesting. And but you never know, and we can't go down that because we don't know that. But those of you that use a CPAP, or your husbands who use a CPAP, or your spouses, or whomever's listening here, that's worth a shot.
It's
worth a shot.
I'm just saying that it's a possibility that it's actually the electromagnetics that are waking you up.
Okay. Oh wow. So we're keeping your bedroom a sanctuary. All right. We've talked about all kinds of things, but last week we also talked about baby monitors that got a lot of people up in the air. I can tell you that.
Baby monitors are RF. Okay, that's the same subject we're talking about tonight, and that's those signals that vibrate, extremely fast.
Yes.
Okay, those are RF. Those RF signals are the ones we're discussing that penetrate. Now, most of it, 90% of it, is caught by the dermis and the epidermis, but the rest of it tends to settle in what we think is the bone. Now, this is all think. Okay, again, nobody's tested, nobody knows for sure. And with babies, one of the big issues is, of course, their bone structure isn't developed yet.
That's exactly right.
And it's the same thing that we think back in, predates most of us, thank goodness, back when pregnant women would wear lead aprons.
Yes.
To protect them from the CRTs.
Yes.
And now we're bringing these same signals and putting them on our cribs.
Into these little babies whose skulls aren't formed yet, their brains aren't formed, their bones aren't formed.
So there are devices that are available, or at least they used to be, assuming that they are, and those that are not wireless monitors. They're basically, you plug them into a wall, you put the crib in the middle of the room so that it's not around any wall.
Yep.
And you put them in, and it's actually just sound monitors that you can hear what's happening in the room.
Well, that's what we had. That's what both of my kids had. Both of their I actually had round cribs for my children, so the bed was in the middle of the room. It was a round crib, but the monitor was over, I don't know, somewhere on a dresser somewhere. It wasn't, I didn't have to see my child.
No. And the only time it transmits is when there's sound.
It's exactly right. So I could hear if they were moving around in there or crying or whatever.
And you plugged it into the wall.
That's exactly right. It was plugged into the wall. And so I don't know what's wrong with those, but everybody needs to see their baby now for whatever, and see their baby from work. We see that, right? Where everybody.
Oh, you're going to give me the same excuse as somebody says, I have my 7-year-old has to have a cell phone because what if there's an emergency and they have to call me?
Yes.
Like, if your 7-year-old is calling you in an emergency, they're in the wrong place. Surely there's an adult around who they would contact in an emergency. Why is your 7-year-old calling you?
I know. I hear it all the time. I mean, well, your children, and last week we also talked about the computers and the laptops and the tablets and all the things that these children have to keep them entertained, and how in many countries it's outlawed now to give a child a tablet or computer or anything like that under the age of like 3 or something. It may even be more than that. Outlawed, people, outlawed.
Yeah.
Because and if in fact you do give your child a tablet or computer or all those things, number one, they do not lay on their laps or their stomach or anything like that, but you download it.
Yeah, I don't know whether we talked about this last week when we were on, or whether you and I just chatted about it. I'm sorry, we've been talking quite a bit for the last whatever.
Yes.
And cell phones and sperm counts.
Yes.
Oh, I think you
I talked about the first visit, or the first
visit.
show or whatever.
And that I did this presentation one time, and the one of the mothers in the room said, well, can I give this to my 16-year-old son and it'll work as birth control?
Oh, well, it is working as birth control
it
on
is,
some of them,
unfortunately.
on the families who want children. That's the problem, right? And so their fertility is going down, and we're seeing, and I can't remember the study because it's from 2 weeks ago.
Sperm banks will not take donations from individuals that carry their cell phones in their, guys that carry their cell phones in their pockets.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, the motility is so bad.
Well, yeah, that's terrible. And we have the lowest sperm count in the United States right now than we've had, I think, since the 60s or so. I believe that's correct. Don't hold me to that. But it is the lowest. I do know that. And it keeps dropping, as does fertility in our gals and our girls. They're producing less eggs.
And there are some studies out that actually relate that to the wireless.
Yes.
That we're using. We have the plethora of wireless devices we have. And some of the people in the concern that's being raised in the energy community, I say the medical community, the energy medical community, I guess is the way to say that, is that the 5G is really going to have a huge impact on that. And we think we see a lot of reproductive organ cancer now. What's going to be coming out soon is just going to be insane.
Ladies, gentlemen, keep your laptops off your lap. Wrong name for that stupid computer right there. It's a tabletop. It's a table. It's a laptop. It's whatever. It's supposed to be on the table, not on your lap, not on your abdomen, not on the long bones of your legs. Don't put the phone to the head. All the things we've talked about, all the things you should know. We have drilled this in your head. Without that, somebody asked, "What about your Fitbit and your smartwatch?" Well, I said that last week. I got rid of my Fitbit. Mine is over here, has not been turned on now in about a year and a half. I don't know. Maybe it's not a problem.
If
it didn't keep me awake or anything like that.
If it is linked to your phone,
yeah,
okay, then
yeah, mine was.
Then it's a fairly consistent transmission. The good news is, though, it transmits more like a text than it does live streaming.
Okay.
So, but it does transmit, and people who are hypersensitive, the 3% of the population, or 10% based on the statistics you read, that are going to respond to it will have impacts from it.
Well,
my suggestion with your Fitbits is, if you want to wear them and let it track during the day, that's fine. Only periodically link it to your phone.
And see, where I thought mine was so interesting and I loved that was at night to see how I slept.
Yeah,
and that's where a lot of people put it.
That's what I use mine for.
Is at night?
Yeah, and in the morning I look to see how I slept. I don't ever link it to my phone unless I change time zones and I have to change the time.
So that's okay if you're just doing it like that.
Oh yeah, because all it's doing is monitoring my pulse.
Okay.
It's not, there's nothing else that it's doing except monitoring my pulse.
So it's not on your phone at all.
Yeah, I don't, like I said, I only link it when I have to change time zones.
Okay. So somebody says she's selling her. Teresa says, I'm selling my Apple Watch.
Yeah, well, Apple Watch, of course, is a more consistent signal.
Yes.
Because it's answering phone calls, it's doing that. So it's kind of, always in contact.
It would be interesting to see. And of course, we won't know any of this for a decade down the road or more. Or do people have more cancers or tumors or anything?
Like the cell phone tumors?
Well, yeah. Uh-huh. And so from these watches and all, like my best friend was in this weekend for my birthday, and all weekend long, her watch was going off right here. She has an Apple Watch, and it was constantly, she was looking at, and me, the big mouth me, I just kept thinking about all that going through her bones, all that going through her bones.
That's it.
Okay. All right, guys, anything else? Because we have two different videos. So those of you that got onto this second one, the first one accidentally cut off. And so we will try to connect those for the YouTube channel. But for those of you that are watching, there's two separate videos. So this part 2 was a little bit different. What else?
What we got any more questions?
Yeah, I don't think we have any more questions. Well, everybody's talking. Yeah,
So we know everything. Yay!
Yes. Janetta's been answering a lot on here.
Oh, thanks, Janetta.
Yeah. So, Patricia says, I just tested mine today up by our bedroom and it was bad. So she was using her Gauss meter.
Oh, there you go.
Her Gauss meter.
What was bad?
I guess probably the reading was bad.
Okay.
It was
so it was higher than 0.2.
0.2. If it's higher than 0.2, remember, that's a problem.
One of the things is when you get one of the things, and I thought I'd tell you this since you're traveling here soon.
Yes.
Take it with you when you travel.
Okay, so I'm going to take it.
Because the hotel will scare you to death.
That's something. Getting in the elevator, would that just go through the roof? Walking by the mechanical room. The mechanical room, that's it.
That'll be bad, but that's the hotels. And
don't sleep near a mechanical room.
But the good part about that is most of the devices in the hotel that are going to bother you are the things they have plugged in.
Okay.
One of the worst culprits on this are the little clock radios that have the little red lights on them.
So unplug
like you see
them.
in every hotel. So unplug them.
Unplug the clock radio. I unplug the lamps now too beside me because I don't use it. Now the ones in the wall. Well, anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in hotels, everything in the wall is run in conduit, so that's not going to be an issue.
I learned that last week from you. I didn't know that.
So the plugs themselves are going to be producing. And most airplanes not built today, if it's a new airplane, those are fairly safe when it comes to magnetic field. Not the wireless fields, just the magnetic field. So airplanes, let me go back. Airplanes, you have radiation frequency because you're so high, you're up above the ozone layer, so you're being zapped. Or up above the stratosphere and the troposphere is really, so you're being zapped like that. And then you have the wireless capability, which is lovely and convenient, for everybody who thinks it's convenient, except for, of course, there's a minor biological issue. But the old airplanes used to have huge magnetic fields. So they had all these magnetic fields running through the floor. So I would put my Gauss meter down on the floor just to see what it was. And remember, 0.2, right? And it would be like 20.
Oh my goodness.
And it's, of course, one of the things why people's you get on there and your feet get really, really tired and they start tingling, or you have thrombosis, or you have issues on airplanes and all that. But the newer airplanes, thank goodness, that's usually not a problem. I don't measure that high. But I would always drop the Gauss meter going, look, see? Oh, yeah, that's cool. But
oh, my gosh. Everybody put your feet in the seat.
Well,
and
just throw your, that's why you're supposed to put your carry-ons under the seat in front of you. So you
and put your feet on top of your carry-ons.
Because it doesn't take much. I mean, you just get away from that 6 to 7 inches or so and you're fine.
So we had Monica. But I started laughing and I wrote down sex toys on here. I have a lady who says, can you imagine all the problems that could arise from cell phone operated sex toys?
I have to tell you,
of course,
sorry,
I actually thought about that last week. I thought about people who plug in vibrators. Honestly, I thought about that.
Yeah.
And wondered. I mean, I don't know. I guess you could put your Gauss meter and see how much juice you're getting to your private parts. I mean, Vicki, look at, she's moving her stuff around over here. She's like, okay, I'm done. But this is, okay, so she says I totally unplug electronics in the hotels. But I don't know anything about cell phone operated sex toys. I really don't. I know about battery operated ones. But I don't know. Well, I don't know. I guess we could have a meeting down at Hustler and find out how all that is. And we can walk in with our meters.
I got a meter over here that may measure it. I can tell you.
We go walking in with all of our meters. See, you would, of course, you don't watch us every week, but it generally turns to sex. Somehow something happens, and you would know that only this group could turn electromagnetic fields into something sexual. So, Vicki,
all right. That's way over my head.
I don't know anything about that, but yes, Monica will look into it because that's something I love to talk about. Valentine's Day's coming up, so I need to protect the public from whatever. Use it as a
your
public
mission
service
outreach.
announcement of PSA, right? Okay, so the hands-on meeting will not be live streamed because we will be moving all over the office and all of that. So we will not do that as a live stream. You'll need to be in the office to do that. Okay, so I sure do appreciate you. I am so excited now, and we'll do a little research too, and we'll let you know about the question about the toys. Go ahead.
All we have talked about when it comes to healthy homes, not really healthy homes, but health supporting homes, is the electromagnetics. Let me tell you, there's a whole different side to this. We have the VOCs. We have the material selection.
Yes.
We have carbon dioxide buildup in homes.
Yes.
Particle counts. All of this is also part of creating a health supporting environment. So just be, we may cover everything. Gas, if you got gas in your house. All of this stuff that we haven't even discussed or touched yet. So this is only one aspect of creating a health sustaining or health supporting.
And if you're interested, Janetta's on here tonight. We could maybe convince her at some point to come talk about the material side of it.
Yeah.
The VOC stuff and whatever she does as an interior designer, trying to get your room and all the materials that are healthy for everything from mattresses to carpets to hardwood. She talks about.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in that, hit your heart buttons, and if we can convince her to come up here from out the sticks where we live, where there's no cell phones. Where there's no cell phones and nothing's overlapping. So yes, Janetta, if you can see that right there, everybody's hitting their hearts. If you would love to have a materials Sunday night service, or even a workshop. So listen, guys, I appreciate the bottom line is your home has got to be a sanctuary. Don't stress yourself out over this. But if you're having symptoms, for sure, your hands are tingling, you have migraine headaches, you're exhausted, you have restless legs. I mean, there's multiple side effects that could be happening here. Then you need to think it's a piece of the puzzle, right? Along with eating well, sleeping well, moving well, pooping well, decreased stress, have community, laugh, all these things. It's all a piece of the puzzle. But it's a piece of it, and it's becoming a bigger piece of the puzzle. And it's one that I wasn't taught about in school, and I guarantee you, your healthcare provider is not, for the most part, probably not up to speed on this.
Yeah.
Or even thinks to ask, hey, what's your bedroom like?
Yeah.
Is your bedroom a sleeping sanctuary?
Yeah, there are a few medical professionals that we know that talk about this, but there's very few that even discuss it. Now, I get it, folks. It's inconvenient. We understand that. But so is eating healthy
You bet.
to heal your gut.
Well, let me tell you something. What was it I shared? Being sick is hard. No, eating well is hard. Being sick is harder. It's the same thing. It's the same principle, So being sick is way harder than anything you're going to do to prevent sickness.
That's right.
It is. Because I'm telling you, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. I mean, it's as simple as that. I'm watching it with a family, with my mom right now. And that's the bottom line. So anyway, we're going to end on a lighter note. But next Friday or Sunday night in here is Dr. Ethan Kellum. For those of you who don't know him, he's an orthopedic surgeon in town. And he still operates, but he does stem cell transplants in your knees, your shoulders, your whatever's hurting, all of those things. Stem cells, platelet-rich PRP, platelet-rich plasma, all those things. He's going to come talk about how to stay away from your orthopedic surgeon.
I had a stem cell.
You did? Really?
Yeah, I've got arthritis real bad in my shoulder.
Yes.
And I had stem cell therapy in my shoulder.
Did it help?
Oh, immensely.
Okay, good.
It's not a cure.
Right.
I mean, I still have the arthritis in my shoulder.
No.
But it greatly reduced the pain. I mean, it used to ache and be painful all the time, and it's no longer an issue.
Okay, fantastic. Good.
So I don't have to, I'm not jumping up and running to surgery or anything like that now.
Exactly.
I mean, didn't fix it, but it's completely livable with now.
Fantastic. Livable.
I'm sure glad I don't have to teach English because, but anyway.
Me too. And then February 3rd is Angela Roberts. For those of you who don't know, she is the spinach tiger. If you don't follow spinachtiger.com, she's a chef. She cooks.
Yeah.
She has the most unbelievable website of gluten-free, and she cooks gluten-free dairy. She is an Italian, full-blown Italian, and she is gluten-free.
So we're all going to be Popeye?
We're all going to be Popeye, man.
Woo!
Spinachtiger.com. She's going to be sitting here in this house on how she does life as an Italian gluten-free.
Oh, how cool is that?
Her website is awesome. Spinachtiger.com, and she just posted her favorite recipes for 2018, actually. So she's got all kinds of good stuff up there. So we have all kinds of great things. Yeah, we love Spinach Tiger coming up. But go to DaniWilliamson.com, sign up for my newsletter. Not that you're going to get a newsletter real soon. It's supposed to go out today. We didn't get it out. But I need your email address for you to know about our electromagnetic, making your bedroom a sanctuary, living in a toxic world. Right?
Sounds good to me.
All right, guys, we appreciate you. Thank you, Vicki.
Bye.
Thank you. Oh, my goodness. And I'll talk to you guys later. We'll see you next week with Dr. Ethan Kellum.